Hey guys, welcome back. I'm no good at these intros, they always feel dead awkward, but I'll just say that we've got another round of Reddit stories to go through, and in the meantime, I'm going to be working on some of my farms, getting them started in this Minecraft world. So, without yapping on, let's get straight into this first one. The title is, My fiancé, 26 female, wants to end our 6-year relationship because I, 33 male, can't meet her needs and she's tired of asking, looking for advice on working through resentment. We've been together for 6 years, moved in together after 7 months, then the pandemic hit a week later. So we've spent almost our entire relationship living together, much of it in isolation. For most of our relationship, she's been telling me I need to be more assertive, take charge more, be more sociable, make decisions, take initiative, basically be more of a man. I know I've struggled with this. One of her main complaints is that I'm insecure, but honestly can't agree with that. I don't get jealous, I don't doubt myself in the way she thinks I do. Yeah, I make self-deprecating jokes constantly, always have, since I was a kid. But I don't think that makes me genuinely insecure. Of course, I have my insecurities, like literally every person on earth, but not in the way she's describing. I'm not sure where this perception comes from, but it's become one of her core issues with me. Back in July, things got really bad between us and we spent a week apart, rethinking our whole relationship. That was my breaking point where I finally admitted I needed help. I went to a psychiatrist and found out I have depression stemming from untreated ADHD. Suddenly, everything made sense, why I'd been so apathetic, why I couldn't get motivated, and why simple decisions felt impossible. The thing is, she'd already known something was wrong and had been pushing me to get help for a while, but I'd tried ADHD medications before, and honestly, they just made me more anxious once the initial euphoria wore off. So I was tired of new meds that seemed to make things worse rather than better. Since then, I've been in therapy, adjusting meds, really trying to work on myself, working out even more, started drumming lessons, and so on. I'm really proud of myself. We're kind of wired differently. I have ADHD. She was recently diagnosed with GAD. I tend to live in the moment, and most of the time, live in the moment means just chill, but I know this is the depression talking. She likes things to be planned and wished I planned more. I forget stuff around the house. I'm working on it. She needs structure and someone who just handles things without being reminded, because that's tiring. I get it, I really do. But lately, everything feels like a test I'm failing. Like, we went to a concert and some drunk host made a dumb joke about her last name at the entrance. I didn't think anything of it. People joke about her name all the time. She's always been cool with it. But later she said I didn't protect her and that it proved I'm not the secure, stable guy she needs. At the moment, I honestly didn't see it as a threat. The guy was just tipsy and making a dumb joke, nothing aggressive. But she interpreted my lack of reaction as me being insecure and failing to protect her. I also get it. So yesterday, she tells me she wants to break up, says I'm perfect, a wonderful partner, that she's grateful for everything that we lived together, and she knows I'm trying, but that I'd have to become a completely different person for this to work, and she doesn't think that's fair to ask or sustainable. I strongly disagree with this. I don't think I need to become someone else. I think the real problem is that we've built up 6 years of resentment and frustration, and now everything I do, or don't do, gets filtered through the lens. What she's asking for isn't crazy or impossible. I genuinely believe I can be that partner for her without losing myself in the process. Last night we talked, and I told her everything, told her I'm willing to move heaven and earth to meet her needs, that I'm actively working on myself and making real progress. But I also said that for us to move forward, we need to clear out the resentment first. But she says that she's really tired of trying. The thing that kills me is that we still love each other, like really love each other, we respect each other, we still have good moments together, we laugh together. Yeah, she's exhausted and says she's not happy with me right now, and that breaks my heart. But there's still so much love here. I want to do everything humanly possible to make this work and make her happy again. I proposed couples therapy. She's taking a few days to think about it. Damn, I mean, that's pretty rough. 6 years is a long time, but honestly, from my personal opinion as an outsider looking in, I think her analysis is correct, and a breakup would probably be best. I mean, you say you can work through things, but the ADHD he mentions, and you're not suddenly just gonna stop being forgetful, and the girl sounds tired. So sometimes it's honestly better to call it quits amicably instead of dragging things out to the point where you both hate each other, because nobody wants that, really, do they? You gotta think about it this way. Overcoming 6 years of resentment and frustration is once again asking even more work from her after 6 years of that thing. And she already told you she's exhausted, so me personally looking in, it sounds like it's over. But anyway, here's the next story. This one is from r/confession, and the title is I saved thousands of dollars by sneaking into the dorm cafeteria for food. During my freshman and sophomore years, I was on an athletic scholarship and food was included. My junior year, I tore my ACL and stopped playing and lost my meal plan. I was essentially on my own. No support from my single mum, and dad wasn't in the picture at all. I got a job on campus, and that covered my rent, fuel, books, and tuition. I had no extra money for food or extracurricular activities. My on-campus job had a fat stack of free mini pizza coupons from Pizza Hut. I took every single one of them and had a mini pizza every day for about 3 months. I also would sneak into the dorm cafeteria to eat lunch. I would wait for it to get real crowded, and while a large group of students would gather to swipe their meal cards to enter, I would try to blend in, and I'd walk right in. I did this a few times a week for 2 years. I remember thinking that if I got caught, I'd play the victim card and basically make the argument that I was literally a starving student. I saved thousands of dollars in food. It saved me. Now, this one is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, just think about it. You're on an athletic scholarship and you get injured whilst playing for the school. Like, how, and you lose everything? It doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand if they voluntarily quit playing, sure, but if they got injured whilst being on the scholarship and they can't play, they should 100% keep the scholarship. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments, so please let me know. Now, moving on, we've got the third story of the day, and this one is titled, Neighbour tried to get my mum fined over our shed, so I got his £40,000 pool filled in. I live with my mum. She's quiet, keeps to herself, never bothers anyone. A few months ago, our new neighbour decided to report her to the city for having an illegal shed in the backyard. It was total BS. The shed's been there for years and has full permits. An inspector came out, checked everything, and left without saying a word. But the neighbour, smug, proud, thought he'd scared us. So I did a little digging. Turns out his brand new pool was way too close to the property line and illegally built over a utility easement. I reported him, attached photos, quoted city codes. 2 weeks later, the city ordered him to either move it, impossible, or fill it in. He lost the whole thing, $40,000 down the drain, literally. Now he gets to look at our completely legal shed every day while standing over a pile of dirt where his pool used to be. Mom sleeps great now. Man, honestly, stories like this, I honestly, I love them. I just love them. They're great. This is just pure, unfiltered karma, to put it simply. Like, you get what you're given. Talk shit, get banged sort of energy, you know? I mean, personally, if you wanted to take it a step further, you should just completely play wind up at this point. get like a small kids paddling pool, put it in the backyard and fill it up on a nice day and sit there and just wait for your neighbour to peer over because he sounds like the lazy son of a bitch that would. And just sit there, sipping your margarita, pina colada. And if he wants to say something, you know, just for added effect, just start splashing the water a little bit. Make a scene, you know? Really rub it in. Like, keep your nose out of other people's business and that won't happen to you. So yeah, it's a short one, but oh, it's poetic justice. This next one is titled, My 35 female fiance, 36 male, has been sexting with a woman and doesn't consider it cheating. My fiance let me use his MacBook to work from home on Friday since my work laptop had to be sent in to be fixed. He has his text messages go to both his iPhone and his MacBook. When I was using it last week, I saw a text come through from someone he had saved as Sexy T. I clicked on it, and there were months of text history that came up. All sexual conversation, lots of pics, back and forth, all during the day. He even told her the day prior that when he was having sex with me, he was thinking about her. I was really upset about it. I decided to give myself a few hours to cool off and then talk to him about it. I took screenshots and emailed them to myself in case he denied it, which is what he did previously when I thought he was cheating on me 2 years ago. I had seen some texts and then he acted like I was crazy and imagining things. When I spoke to him about it on Friday night, he did not deny it, but he told me it's no different than watching porn because he's not actually having sex with her. He told me they met at a networking event pre-pandemic and kept in touch. He said she just started sending him hot photos and one thing led to another. He told me he would stop talking to her, but only after I got really upset. I'm still using his MacBook today, Monday, because the replacement my company sent won't be here until tomorrow or Wednesday. I decided to go into his messages on his MacBook again, and sure enough, he had been texting her since around 9 AM. He told her he can't text her much anymore. Then, not an hour later, he's texting her that he can't stand not texting her. I didn't even say anything to him. I just packed up my stuff. We moved in together about 3 months ago. Called my former roommate to confirm my old room was still available, which it is, and went back to my old apartment. He tried to stop me and acted like he had no idea why I was doing what I was doing, and that I'm taking things way overboard. When I got to my old apartment, I sent him a pic I took of his text conversation from this morning. Would you classify this as cheating? I mean, stuff like this just, honestly, it messes with your head. How can people think like this to someone they meant to call their partner? I mean, first off, let me just start by saying, of course it is cheating. Like, whether or not he has physically touched her, this is 100% an emotional affair. There's, like, with porn, there's no relationship or reaction. It's purely entertainment. Whether you agree with it or not, it is just entertainment. I personally don't like it, but, you know, everyone's different. But with this, he's actually, like, openly engaged in a relationship with this woman. Yes, it might not be physical, but damn, it sure is emotional. Now, I mean, props to the woman for getting up out of there. That takes a lot of willpower. Now, there's actually an update to this story, so let me just quickly recap this. Update 5 weeks later. Of course, after I left and sent him the evidence, he was apologising up and down and begged me to come back. I told him no, I had enough. Beyond this cheating, and when I thought he was cheating 2 years ago, he's just a manipulative asshole. I think I've always known it, but maybe I felt like I couldn't do better. I don't know. I'm happier now that I left. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. A few days after I left, his mother reached out to me and asked if we could have a call. I wasn't sure how much he shared with her, but I really liked his mum, so I agreed. She essentially told me that we as women sometimes have to put up with our men cheating, and it's part of life. She's not condoning what he did and not condoning what his father had done, but that it's a part of life. She then went on to tell me that he's a good provider and would provide for me and any children we end up having. But sometimes, in return for him being a provider, I need to put up with some stuff I may not like. Right, hang on a minute. This isn't the end of the update, but... What? I'm sorry, what? No, this woman cannot be real. How can you say that this is part of something you've got to deal with as a woman? Like, darling, your priorities are way out of line. That is... Okay, sorry, let me get back to the story. I told her the conversation was over. For those of you with children, if your significant other is cheating, please don't let your child think this is okay. I believe my ex thought he wasn't really doing anything wrong because of what he saw in his family. I would never have imagined I would have had to set boundaries this way. I had a long talk with my mother and she thinks I did the right thing and would kill my father if he did anything like that. I understand some people have open marriages, and that is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about having a side piece without the other person's consent. Okay, yeah, that's the story. Now let me just circle back. Like that, the mother's comments in that conversation. Wow, honestly, I have not cringed so much in a long time. That it speaks volumes about how she views herself and probably any daughters she has. That is shocking. Now, if anyone agrees with me or has a completely separate viewpoint on that, I'd love to hear it. Explain it in the comments. You don't have to, but I would definitely like to hear it. Right, so I have 2 more stories to get through. This next one is titled, I have a weekly routine that I've never told anyone about. It's nothing crazy, I'm just slightly embarrassed about it, and if anyone ever confronted me about it, I'd want to crawl into a hole and hide for a moment. I, 28 male, work a fairly early day job. I'm up at 3 AM most days, and on weekends I work before most people are awake. I'm the first one on site on these days. Now, I'm by no means a morning person. I have to take medication on a strict schedule to feel like a normal person this early. Even then, I'm still pretty silent and mentally checked out for the first 2 hours or so. Onto my routine. Each weekend, when I'm the first to arrive, I drag myself out of the car, shuffle up to the doors to scan myself in, and I'm greeted by the cheerful little chimes of the building's alarm system, quietly prompting me to disarm it with its gentle tune. And each time, as if by instinct, I do a slow, heartfelt dance. I don't remember precisely when this started, it's just what I do. Sometimes they forget to arm the system the night before and I feel sad. When I enter the building and I'm met with silence, I can only recall one time when I did not dance along to the tune. It was a bad day. I felt ill. I left early that day. None of my co-workers know I do this. I haven't even told my friends. It's just been a source of quiet joy. Moments that I take for just myself. No one else, but now you know. This one is so heartwarming. I mean, how often do you get the tiny little things in life that give you so much joy? Like, I love this. This is really, really heartwarming. And I know it's small, but you should really take what's said in this little story and apply it to daily life. Like, just enjoy the small little things that people would look at and think, what the hell is he going on about? Because that's life. Not to be deep, but it's life. Now, onto the final story. This is titled, My Neighbour Liked to Clean. 2001. I had just moved to a quiet neighbourhood where my children, aged 1 and 3, could play outside safely and grow up with neighbourhood children. It was also nice for my cats, 3, to finally be able to run around outside. After the first week, it was our first garbage day. Everything neatly in closed bags and in our personal garbage container. In the morning, we had to place the container on the side of the road with the rest of the containers on our street. So it was there at 7 AM. After which, I started cleaning my house. I had a white floor because I liked it, and that way I knew for sure that it was clean. I mopped daily. I was still extremely clean at that time because of crawling children. Then I did the shopping, and when I got home, I was in shock after opening my front door. My entire hall was full of unknown waste, pieces of glass, sharp metal lids, pieces of food, cartons, plastics, etc. Clearly stuffed through the mail slot. I already saw a number of neighbours looking at me expectantly behind their windows and in front of their house. It was clear that they knew more. After asking around, I was told who had thrown that garbage in my house. Conscious neighbour had done this with much fanfare. Something snapped inside me. A bomb in my frontal lobe, and all decency disappeared from my mind, steam from my ears. I cleaned out the trash and put the kids in the living room. Then I cleaned the cat litter box. Normally, I'd throw the entire contents in a bag, but now I was a bit more precise. I only scooped the shit and urine clumps out of the box and divided it evenly into 2 small bags, those thin ones that tear quickly. I took the bags and went to the neighbour further down the street. I rang the doorbell and kept the bags behind me. The lady opened the door with a smug grin on her face. The door opened wide and I could quickly see her hall. On the right, a carpeted staircase. On the left, the open door to the living room. The hall continued for another 1.5 meters to the back after the stairs and door, where the toilet was. Everything was super clean. I asked her devilishly calmly if she had put that waste through my mail slot. Her answer was yes, followed by the reasoning that because I was new here, that the loose waste that was lying around the placed containers must have been mine, because before we lived here, that never happened. This was the moment that all the blood vessels in my eyes burst. The calm was gone. In a tirade of abuse, I made it clear to her that I had not been the polluter, and that if she had any decency, she could have spoken to me instead of jumping to conclusions and dirtying my house and endangering my crawling children and animals by dumping that waste in my house like that. With the message that she liked to clean up so much, "Here please," and I threw the 2 bags in her hallway, one against the corner of the stairs and the other on the doorpost of the living room. Everything, really everything, was covered in shit and splattered clumps of cat urine. With a warning / promise that if she ever thought of doing something like that again, I would smash all her windows, I turned around and went home. Everyone had seen and heard everything. Never heard anything from that neighbour again. No one ever thought of doing something like that to me again. I can still enjoy the face she pulled when she saw the bags flying. It was shock, fear, indignation, nausea and despair all at once. And that is one hell of a story to end it on. Once again, fuck around and find out. She got everything she deserved, and I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to witness that. That sounds hilarious. So yeah, I hope you have all enjoyed these stories, and if you want them to keep coming, make sure to subscribe, and even maybe send some recommendations or some of your personal subreddits for me to browse to select from. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.